Yeah, so today it's actually been a long time though. Like this is gonna be the first time I'm gonna uh do a podcast in English, because ever since I started, it was in Lingala with my brother, and today I got my other brother with me. So it's gonna be great. It's been a long time. I haven't even posted a video in a long time, but I got my brother Ben with me today, so we're gonna talk about a few things. You know, and see, uh, get his point of view about some of the things that's going on here. But first of all, I really want to start welcome. First of all, welcome to my podcast, bro. And this is what I do pretty much. Like I started this pretty much. It was like a community thing. I just wanted to get everybody together. I'm Congolese. We are Congolese, and I just wanted to get everybody kind of together, and then kind of see if they're gonna fuck with what I do, and things like that, pretty much. But I'm really happy, and I'm glad to have you in my podcast today. I just want you to know that. But
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. So what we're gonna do, I think we're gonna start like pretty. It's really easy. Like I don't know. Like I think I showed you the video before, but I just wanna I just want you to give me your opinion about like the DJ Envy situation. I know everybody already watched that. Like if you haven't watched it, I think I'm gonna play a little clip. I'm gonna put a little clip, like even at the end of the show or whatever, or I'm gonna play it for you. So pretty much DJ Envy's wife was saying that because they've been together since they were 15. Like they're married. They've been married, I think. I don't know for how long, but pretty much she was telling Envy that she hasn't she don't have orgasm every time they have sex, but she was faking it for 10 years. you know and then I think they talking about it because they're fixing to release like a book.
Okay.
So she was telling Heavy how like she was faking having orgasm for 10 years pretty much in the relationship. And
I feel like she was lying. I feel like
you
she was
think
lying.
so?
I feel like she was lying. She probably did it for attention because women are very needy. So
Okay.
I don't think if she needs something, if she wants something, I don't think she's gonna fake it for 10 years.
You don't think so, bro?
Nah.
I
And
think
then if you was 15, that means he didn't have no money. Unless he had money as a kid,
yeah.
then that means she was staying around because she knew he had money. She knew she was gonna win a benefit somewhere else. But I don't think she was faking it. She just said that just to say it. I don't think she.
But don't you think that even back then, because Heavy said it was like 17 and she was 16, when they started like dating or whatever. And I don't know. Like he felt like he was putting in work. Don't you feel like I feel like most of us already went through that, like at some point, someone lying to you. But like you said, maybe not for 10 years.
Yeah,
what I
not
mean?
for 10 years. We probably had dealt with women who are more experienced than
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah.
But if she was younger, he was young also. Unless she was more experienced than him at the time, I think she was just lying. I think that's important. Women are very needy, so I know sometimes, or she might have secrets that she doesn't tell him about. She went and did something else. I know women they want what they want. If they don't get it, they're gonna get it somehow. So I don't think she would just stay around for 10 years for nothing. Unless it's something that we just don't know. They're not telling everybody.
Yeah, but that one, I mean, you're kind of right though, because I don't see any situation where a woman is just gonna stay there for 10 years and faking it. You know what I mean? Not things like that.
Yeah.
I don't see, unless you have a lot of money. Even if you have a lot of money,
Unless
do
you
you
have money. Money make people do crazy things.
do you think a woman can fake it for 10 years if the dude have money?
Nah, she probably still cheat. She'll probably
Yeah,
still,
she's gonna be
she's
yeah.
gonna cheat. That's why I said she might have some secrets that she's not telling him about. She might have some secrets. And
Hey, some. But me, the thing I don't like about that is just like, okay, I feel like people get too comfortable nowadays, like bringing everything on social media. Like, don't you think so? I mean, I don't see myself even to talk about shit like that. I don't
yeah,
on TV, bro. Like,
yeah, I think some stuff are meant to be private. But sometimes when you are in a spotlight, like when you do something like this, you do want to let the other person know that, hey, you're not the only one that went through
I go through this, like,
yeah, we went through it too. I've dealt. Somebody might feel like they've dealt with somebody that been through the exact same thing.
I'm a lie on that one. Would you even respect another man hearing, like, how do you look at another man if they admit that, if something like that happened to them? Like, how would you look? Because I look at it like, I'm not going to respect you after that. You know what I mean? Even if you want to be with that girl, like.
He's rich. Hey, man.
Oh, man. So it doesn't matter after that.
Money buys everything, man. Money buys everything, man.
Man, I feel you, bro.
He's rich, man. So I know a lot of that changes the whole dynamic of everything. Once you have money, there's not much really.
But okay, let me ask you this though. Like, if your girl tells you that, like, if you find out that she was faking it, or she actually because I think it happened, like, the way he found out, he was in an argument.
Mm-hmm.
But if you find out like that, like, what you gonna do? Like, is it gonna be like, oh, we're gonna work it out, or you gonna leave, or like, what you gonna do?
Leave. Simple as that.
For real?
If you're not satisfied to where you feel like you want to be, leave. Nobody's forcing you. That's just the mentality. I'm from Houston, man. Hey, man, I'm from Houston, man. I'm African by blood, but I'm born and raised in Houston, Texas, man, home of the players and pimps. So that's our slogan.
So you leave.
We don't handcuff nothing. We don't keep nothing around that don't want to be. Hey, man, if you don't want to, go ahead and leave. If it's an issue, if it's something going on, leave. That's just how I look at it.
That's a good point. I mean,
just leave. Don't force sticking around. Don't force it.
But do you think things like that is gonna fuck you up mentally?
As a man, yeah. As a man, yeah. You can't. There's no doubt about it. Especially if you feel like you was doing everything you could. Yeah, of course. But with one gone, another one is gonna come. So you'll gain your mental back.
That one is gonna be hard to get it back, because I feel like you're gonna have trust issues after that. Because you don't know what to trust. I mean, after that, you don't know if they're telling you the truth or not.
Yeah.
That one is the hardest one.
It just depends on how much does it matter to you. How much does it matter?
True.
Some men are selfish. They feel like, as long as I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't care about nobody else.
I don't care about nobody else. So it just.
Hey, I understand though.
It depends on what matters to
I
you.
understand.
So
that one.
If that doesn't matter to you, it won't mess you up. You'll be like, oh well.
I understand on that one, but nah, I still think envy is a bitch. Like, I don't respect men like that. Like, I feel like like you say, now it makes sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you want to make everybody else feel like, oh, even if I'm in front of the camera, like, if I do this, I'm still just like you. You know what I mean? Like, I go through the same shit, but I don't think that one, I mean, it was on the book too, so I think that was the whole purpose of it, just to find things to talk about.
They just said it. I'm sure they had a lot of stuff in the book. They probably just highlighted that
because they know people gonna talk.
They know people gonna talk about that.
Look, we're talking about it. Like, it's
they know people's gonna talk about it. So that's probably what it was. But I think it's probably more into that actual story than what they just said in that clip.
Yeah.
You might just have to get the book.
I'm a bad reader. Like, I don't read books like that.
Oh man, I love reading books.
Oh,
man.
for real?
I have a bookshelf, man.
Me reading is not really, like, I fell asleep reading. Like, you see, that's me now. It's like audiobook. That's my thing. Yeah.
People tell me all the time audiobooks, but
audiobooks is
I'm classic, man. I'll get something on my phone and still print it out.
Oh, for real?
Still read it versus page. I still write on notepads. I'm old school.
That's what's up. I mean, I'm still, I'm kind of like trying to get going with this new wave, and like, you take advantage of technology, pretty much. But I'm gonna, like, pretty much like that everything, like, it was all good. Like, I'm glad that you was able to give me your thought on it. But one of the main thing, like, because you say you're from Houston, pretty much. Like, I'm not from Houston at all. Like, you can hear my accent and everything. I'm not from Houston at all. Where I come from, we do things a little differently. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you're really excited about even going back home. Like, I'm really excited for you too. But before I even talk about some of the things that's going on in Houston, because we already know what's going on in Houston. Like there is, people they were shooting everywhere.
Crazy, right?
You know what I mean?
It's
Like
crazy.
Houston is really crazy, and then you being one of them, and then you being outside. You know what I mean? Like I have, I always have that story that I tell you every time, like I see you and all that. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to tell that story today too. But before we talk about that, but I just wanna know, like, for you, what's a real nigga?
Somebody will take care of responsibility. That's it.
Like what responsibility? Because
Any-
niggas get it. I really want to know from you, because when you come here, I feel like there is real nigga everywhere you go, right? Like you go to any country, everywhere you go, you gonna see real niggas, right?
Yeah.
But what's a real, like when you say responsibility, like what responsibility? Like
Anything that they're faced with, any adversity that you're faced with, whether it's you having kids, whether it's you making sure your mom is straight, making sure even the kid, your other one, your kid's parents, the mother or somebody else is straight. Any situation that's brought upon your table, taking care of it without having an excuse. I feel like that's real. It could be situations at work. It could be work. It could be work related.
Mm-hmm.
It could be us learning how to say excuse me. Being able to swallow your pride when it's time. That's what I consider real. A lot of us get it confused because we let our pride get in the way, and you feel like you have to do something to show that you're real. Nah, doing what's real is what's natural. Saying excuse me, thank you, sorry, helping. Seeing you walk in an apartment, you walk into a home area, you see old lady carrying bags. May I help you? It might be your mom, it might be your aunt, it might be your sister. I feel like that's what makes someone real. Just having common courtesy, just morale, just being an actual person. That's what makes somebody.
But don't you feel like it's can we link being a gangster, a thug, or shooting people and to being a real nigga too?
No, not at all. Not at all. You can't, because I've seen both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the work side and I've seen the gangster thug side.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who choose the gangster thug side, they move off emotions.
Okay.
When you move off emotions, nothing about that is real, because that's a temporary feeling. That's not who you really are. You're fueled to move. So whether you're moving off of pride, if I let this man slide, somebody might say something to me, or how would they look at me if I let him make it, or somebody does something to you and it hurts your feeling, it embarrasses you.
Mm-hmm.
One of your friends, family members, someone gets killed, it hurts your heart. So now you're moving off of anger, you're moving off of frustration, you're moving off embarrassment. So you're not being yourself at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes these gangsters, thugs, or whatever the case is, they move off of even being not sober. They're moving off of drugs. They're high. You're under influence. You're smoking. You're popping pills. Nothing about that is real, because you're not in your real element. You're not yourself. You know what I'm saying? Being yourself is a situation happening to you. You being able to logically think what you're gonna do next. A lot of gangsters don't move like that. A lot of thugs don't. They're moving off of emotions. That's not real.
So do you feel like they kind of get it confused nowadays? Like it's kind of...
It's always been confused. It's been confused.
So who's doing that? Like, do you think like it's like in the other side? Because I always look at everything that you say about being real is true. I believe that's what real is, pretty much. But don't you think like everybody else look at it kind of like, oh yeah, like you soft to your bitch or things like that?
Yeah,
Like,
that you worrying about what somebody else thinks. That's your pride. So if you worry about what somebody else thinks, what makes you real about that? You care. You put on a persona because you want people to visualize you one way.
yeah.
How is that real?
Oh.
How is that real? You're not yourself. Because sometimes I've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
People walk around with guns and they walk around, but as soon as something happens to them, they scared to shoot. They dropped a gun. I've seen somebody drop a gun after he was shot at. He dropped his gun and ran. I've seen that with my own two eyes. But everybody before was calling him real. They felt like he was real. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
when he see you, he's gonna do so. He's a real nigga. But when something real happened, his true element
Comes
came out. He was scared. There's nothing real about being gangster. There's nothing real about being a thug. Some people react naturally because that's who they are. Some people, that's just who they are. They're tough. You know, they're I compare a lot of that gangster and thug look to California lifestyle. I know a lot of people from LA. I know a lot of people from California, and the reason I give it to Hispanics the most. Hispanics nationwide. There's two things you can't mess with them: family and their respect.
Okay.
That is embedded in them. And no matter what, I feel like that's what makes them real, because a lot of Californians have a macho lifestyle. Machismo, that's what they call it.
Okay.
That's just how they are. So when people look at that, they like, oh no, they're pretending. No, they grew up that way. That's what makes them real, because they're being who they were taught to be. They're taught to be macho. They're taught to have that machismo. Never put your chest in. Always walk with your chest out.
Yeah, your chest out. Yeah.
They were taught like that. So you can't take away something from somebody who was taught like that. Like I said before, when they're faced with adversity, they're gonna stand tall with their chest out. Somebody who's trying to be a thug or try to portray the image of a gangster, when they're faced with adversity, they're gonna run. So you have to really be able to decipher which one is real, which one is fake.
That's actually dope. You know, to be honest with you, I never really looked at it like that. You know what I mean? Like I always looked at it in that other angle. You know, and then especially me coming here, it was a real story. But you know, like it's a little different. You know, because where I'm from, like you said, there is reals everywhere, right? Like real, you know, like I said, you see a real nigga somewhere, you know it. You know. But I think it's just, I don't like the fact that they kind of like get it confused, and then kind of like they look at everybody else doing the right thing as, you know what I mean, as if they're not, you know. Even, you see, the funny thing is, like, I look at it as a, you know, in the black community, like, we praise people like Future, you know. We praise people like that, and then we bash people like Russell Wilson, for example.
We praise people like Future because that's ourselves in the mirror. So we look at the person who falls short to temptation. You know, everybody knows Future has multiple baby mamas or whatever.
Yeah.
We look at people who have that in their same life. We can relate. We look at people who's addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
We can relate. You know, being African, people, more so from my experience, we're not addicted to drugs, but we're addicted to alcohol.
Yeah.
So that's a form of substance.
Yeah.
So I've seen it my whole life. You know, people being addicted to alcohol, and you know, seeing somebody like Future who's talking about addiction in his music, I can relate.
Yeah.
So then when I see somebody like Russell Wilson, I look at him like,
you can't look up to him. Like that's not you.
That's not
yeah,
because
it
that's
doesn't
not
represent.
It doesn't represent why. So that's the reason why I feel like our community can respect somebody like Future.
But do you think we should keep doing it? Continue to like I'm even praising. I don't think we should say praising. I think it's like appreciation. Like do you think we should keep going that road, like just appreciating those people, or like kind of like putting those people up like that, or we should kind of like praising people like Russell Wilson more?
I feel like anybody successful should get praise.
Okay.
Anybody who's able to overcome adversity should get praise. Russell Wilson works hard for his craft. He's a football player. He has to go to practice every day. He trains. He works out. He should get praise. Future overcame adversity from how he grew up in Atlanta, all the stuff he went through, and is where he's at right now to be able to provide. So I feel like no matter what path of walk what way of life you walked, you should always get praised for accomplishing something. No matter what, I feel like when people like Future talk, I can relate to them. Even when people like Russell talk, I can relate to them. I've seen best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So no matter what, I just feel like you can not so praise, but you can still acknowledge these people, whether it's a person who came from bad talking about their history, or a person who's just talking about himself at the moment, like Russell. I feel like you still can praise both of them. You still can accomplish something, you know, from either world.
Man, like it's kind of, I mean, I don't know, like it's kind of hard to kind of just, you know, look at it like you said, like if we, because I feel like sometimes we just give the wrong people attention. And then, like you say, I respect what you say because I respect Kim Kardashian. I respect the Kardashian what they did. You know what I mean? Because you gotta look at the journey, the effort. Like what, it take. Success is really hard.
Right.
To achieve something in life is really hard. Unless you haven't tried, that you will never know that. If you try, you know how hard it is to be successful.
Right.
You really know. So, like you say, you respect those people, but I kind of feel like, even as raising you raising, two beautiful, girls and queens, and it's sometimes even when you say like we gotta respect them, but how do you pay attention not to expose them to this? Because it's crazy nowadays, bro. Like some of the people that we kind of look up to, like we kind of like see every day, even on TV, on social media. Don't you feel like we kind of like expose our child to that? Whatever.
You honestly can't control it. You can't control it. I think I grew up. I'm 27 today.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the social media era. I give myself that because when I was coming up, when I was about 8, 9 years old, they had Bebo. It went from Bebo to Tag, and from Tag it went to MySpace, and then it went Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and everything we have now.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I still grew up in a social media era.
Mm-hmm.
It still wasn't shield. And then we had different stuff. We had stuff like outside of social media, the porn that was on the internet was worse.
Yeah.
They had the what sites was it called? I don't know. I never used to be on it, so I don't even know the name. But you still had the blackpeoplemeet.com. And you
y'all started with that website shit, like, bro. I'm talking about way back when you used to like steal magazines and
magazines,
like way back there.
And
like
when you talk about Instagram, just imagine going to the grocery store. It was magazines on the shelf. When you walking out, this magazine is gonna have. You might try to sneak and steal a magazine.
So, because true.
Being exposed has always been a part of our life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something you really can't control. It just as far as you as a parent, as far as myself, or just you as an adult, an uncle, big cousin, big brother, it's part of you to just show the next generation what's right, what's wrong.
Okay.
Because you're gonna always be exposed. Because just imagine the kids our ages. You talk about social media, but beforehand there was drugs.
Yeah, drugs was heavy
when
too,
when you talk about just the community, kids was playing outside and they were seeing people smoke, people doing drinking all outside in the middle of the street.
Yeah, that's being exposed too. Yeah.
So the exposure comes in many. And
do you feel like now it's just in a different way? It's more online than being outside.
Yeah, it's just online. But the exposure has always been there. I'm from Houston. I'm from the Southwest, and everybody knows of this street named Bissonnette. And if you know Bissonnette, this is something nationwide. Bissonnette is prostitution capital of America. Everybody knows that.
I didn't even know that.
And Bissonnette, if you drive down Bissonnette, no matter what time of the day it is, it's like you see naked women everywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now it's ridiculous.
You see naked women everywhere, and that's something that I grew up seeing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. My first barbershop was on the corner of Bissonnette and 59. My dad, he had friends who housed their apartments. They stayed off of Bissonnette. They stayed on Braeswood.
Mm-hmm.
They stayed on some of these most notorious neighborhoods. So I'll go to school Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday I'm with my dad, and we're in one of the worst neighborhoods in Houston. I grew up like that. I ended up having friends from those same apartments, and we would talk like, hey, remember when we were kids? And, I ended up growing up like that's how I know a lot of my negative peers, because I knew them as kids, because we were all from an area that was bad.
Yeah.
So we were exposed to those same things. It's just we didn't have phones. We were outside seeing it in front of our face. Now the kids are seeing it on the phone. I feel like it's the same thing.
That is really, I mean, that's I don't even know what that's really true though. Like I think like I said, back then people were more exposed in like outside. Things was going on outside. You know what I mean? Like, and then the drug thing was really heavy back then.
Just imagine being outside and all you see is negativity. What can you do?
Oh, you're just gonna
what can you do? Like you whether adapt to it, you try to stay away from it, or a lot of kids that are positive, they can tell you about the friends that they saw in school who were negative. That was just something that was there, but it was in front of your face, physically. Now it's changed to being social media, whether it being on your phone or your tablet. So you're exposed to it more because I was only aware of what I knew in Houston.
Yeah.
So me growing up in Houston, all I knew about was my neighborhood, which was the Southwest. I knew about Fondren, I knew about Braeswood, I knew about Bissonnette, Beltway 8, 59, 610, and 90, Fondren and Maine. That's all I knew. But these kids now, they see the shootings that's going on in Florida. They see the shootings that's going on in Miami and in New Jersey. They see the shooting that's going on in LA. So I could say that's the difference. But if you're a kid and you've seen negative you see one thing, man, you pretty much seen.
So you believe that it's not worse now? It's just different. It's a different type. It's like online now.
It's just online. It's not worse. The shootings been going on. I was doing research not too long ago in 1992, and somebody can look this up. LA had over 1,200 murders in 1 year. So just imagine that when people are back then, LA, Chicago, they were hitting 1,000 mark murders a year per year. Right now, Chicago is hitting 600, 700, and people are calling it Chirac.
But I feel like it's just like a media coverage too. Like now, it's fast, bro. Like the information is just.
It's always been.
But back then, it's like, even think about it. Like, they're not gonna show the stuff on TV.
I remember in 2000. When did Obama first get elected? 2004.
Yeah, I think so.
2008. No,
I think
Obama got elected in 2008. He got reelected in 2012.
2012.
When he first got elected in 2008, I'll never forget. One of my friends, her mom was like, "Ben, can you please go get me a newspaper so I can frame it?" So I went to the store. I went to Fiesta. I tried to get a newspaper. I couldn't find it. So I went to another store to try to get a newspaper. The newspaper for Obama was sold out everywhere. So I started thinking, like, man, she was an older woman. So I'm like, man, is this how it was back in the days when something happens, everybody runs to a newspaper?
Yeah, newspaper, yeah.
So what the media does, what? They hurry up and print it and put it in a newspaper. You see it.
So you gotta be fast too, fast enough to get to the newspaper, because like you said, you might not
but somebody saw it.
Yeah.
So you might not have seen it, but somebody saw it. So the media has always been there. The media has always been there. It's just more accessible now because of technology.
Yeah, technology.
But it's always been there. It's always been there.
Yeah, but just to stay in that thing about shooting and things like that, like you say, I'm gonna I want to know, because I've been in Houston for like 10, I'm going to 11 years now, and some of the things that I'm seeing right now, I just feel like it's kind of getting a little worse. I don't know, just that's how I feel. And then I wasn't even living in this side of town, but even hearing different people talking about it, like it wasn't like this, like let's say 10, 15 years ago. Like right now, it's kind of like getting worse. Like some of the things, let's say like this. This is how I look at it. Everybody that lives in Houston, or even don't live in Houston, or you already been in Houston, you know about the Galleria. The image that I have for Galleria is like a luxury place. Like people go with nice cars and nice restaurants. The area is nice. You know what I mean? Like it's really not a place where anybody should feel some type of, you know what I mean? Like you should feel safe around the Galleria. You know what I mean?
Right.
But recently, like, bro, like I don't know if you've seen videos or you heard about it. Like I've seen people getting robbed in the restaurant in the Galleria.
Right.
I seen the undercover cops get shot in the Galleria. You know what I mean?
I saw that.
Like now, recently, like the nigga got shot like outside the Galleria. You know what I mean?
For their watch, I saw that.
We've been seeing those stuff happening in the Galleria, and then most of it, it's black people. You know what I mean? Like me personally, I was saying this, like even being from outside America, right? Like we never seen in the news black people protest against other black people. You know what I mean? Like, you know when they say like, oh, police brutality and all that
Right,
stuff.
right.
Like, a lot of shit happened in the black community, right?
Right.
But I never seen black people protest against that. You know what I mean? Because you know it's easier for a black man to kill another black man than to kill somebody else.
Right.
So I just want to know what's going on, bro. Like, why is he kind of worse? Because some people blaming on that thing that happened in New Orleans, that flooding that happened in that Katrina thing.
It's not Hurricane Katrina.
You know what I mean?
People was blaming it on Hurricane Katrina for years, but since me growing up, everything I've been in, as far as any trouble I've been in, it's only been with Houston people.
Okay.
It's never been with anybody from Louisiana or nothing like that. Our neighborhood's been the same since.
Even before that.
Since before that.
Okay.
So the thing I can say that changed, in all honesty, is more people. Everybody knows that when more people when things are condensed in one area, that means it's aimed for more chaos, things to happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And as everybody knows, Houston is the #1 most moved to city in America right now. Okay. So everybody's moving to Houston. We're getting more full. Prices are going up. People still get to pay the same. People are still getting laid off. COVID still has a big effect on our city, especially COVID did numbers with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So with that, there's only one thing left to do. There's only one thing left to do is more people coming in, more people losing jobs.
It's less opportunity.
It's less opportunity.
It's like,
what are you gonna do? A lot of people are envious. A lot of people are depressed. A lot of people are sad. So when they're going through all these emotions, like I said earlier, when they're going through all these emotions, what do you expect them to do? What do you expect them to do? And then we live in a state that's open carry.
Oh yeah, that's I don't understand.
That's open carry. I mean, I've always been for it I've always seen the crime since I was a kid. I've always knew once I turned a certain age, I was gonna get my license to carry. As long as I stayed out of jail, I was gonna get my license to carry. Mm-hmm. And I've been in trouble. I've tried hard to make sure that I could still get my license to carry. Once I turned 21, I went and got my handgun license. Mm-hmm. That was the only thing I got for my 21st birthday. I got enough money to go get my handgun license, and I haven't carried it yet. To this day, right now, I own about 6 guns. So I own about 6 guns, and I always keep one on me. Because the way it's going. The way it's going, and just the mindset of being a Texan. I'm a Texan first, as everybody laughs and say Cowboys this, Cowboys that, but that's really
it's real.
It's been the Wild West since we was growing up. So why would you blame it on Katrina? How can you say?
So that's just like a cover up. It's like blaming.
They're trying to find something to blame. It's been that all of our famous Houston rappers have. A lot of Houston rappers get killed in our own city since we were kids. How is that blaming it on? How can it be Louisiana? How can it be this? You know, right now the crime has gone up, and I'm blaming it. I put the blame on COVID, but beforehand, Houston has always been Houston.
But bro, why don't you feel like, I know you cannot control everybody else, right? But this is what I always say. Like, if you feel like I have a choice, do you look at it like it's a maturity thing? Because most of it are young niggas.
Yeah, no,
they're really young.
It's definitely a maturity thing. I work with kids now, and they don't know how to control their emotions. I still know how they feel. I still put myself in position, even as an adult, that I couldn't control my emotion, how I felt, how I react to something. That's all it is. It's about you being able to have coping skills. A lot of these kids are neglected. They're traumatized. They're going through stuff. Even these adults, you know, we're going through things as adults. We're losing family members, but we don't know how to cope.
Yeah.
You know, it's a difference if you lose somebody off of sickness versus you losing somebody to gun violence.
Yeah.
You lose somebody because they're sick, you know, a lot of people like, oh, they're gonna blame God. They don't want to go to church no more.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want to be. They're not violent towards nobody else.
Yeah.
That one is just a fight between them and God.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you lose somebody due to somebody else taking their life away, it changes. It changes the whole scenario. Now you don't know how to react because you know somebody else had that power to take my cousin, my friend, my best. They took their life. So now you're reacting off emotions. You don't have any coping.
But bro, in the community though, like I understand what you're saying, but you know, sometimes I look at it as like a easy thing because some people gonna listen to you and then they feel like, oh yeah, like you see, like it's COVID, you know what I mean? Niggas gotta eat. We gotta do whatever we gotta do because they're not helping us. Fuck the police, fuck the government, they're not helping us. I understand that part. But as a community, like just us, I feel like we're not doing better when it comes to that. We're calling out things something else. Like we're calling out everybody else but ourselves. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we really look away when things happening in our community. You know what I mean? I say our community because I'm still a nigga. I'm still black. You know what I mean?
When it's somebody else, I know my neighborhood. If it's something that happens in our neighborhood that's somebody from within our neighborhood, they're dealt with accordingly.
Okay.
But if it's somebody that comes to our neighborhood and feels like they can shit on our neighborhood,
mm-hmm.
they can do whatever they want just because of who they think they are, they're gonna get dealt with and we're gonna turn the blind eye. I mean, we protect each other as a family. So it's just how you want to look at it. It's from where we're from. If you're not from where we're from and you come over here tripping,
mm-hmm.
you're gonna get handled.
So does it happen often? Like, you know, things
Yeah.
like that? Like people kind of like come from some...
Yeah, it happens. People talk.
So most of the violence, is it like people from the same community or like is it people from outside that?
It's people. It's always people from outside of your community. It's never people from in your community. When sometimes it could be a homeboy. Y'all fall off and y'all start going at each other. But eventually that's gonna die because your mama knows his mom, or this cousin knows this cousin, this sister knows this person. Eventually that's gonna die. Y'all gonna be at it for a little bit, but that's not gonna.
It's not gonna escalate.
It's not gonna. Sometimes it do. Don't get me wrong. I have friends who've killed friends. Sometimes it does escalate, but that's not often, you know. Mm-hmm. But a lot of time when it's people from outside of your community, that's what starts the issue, and that's what keeps it going. Because some people have a sense of they gotta protect their own.
Okay.
So, and it goes from you protecting your home to now when you go to the mall, like the Galleria, you see the person that you was beefing with. What's gonna happen when I see you? You know, because we see each other at a shopping
man,
center.
like that's why I don't understand it sometimes, man. Like, you know, like is it like the place doesn't really matter? It's like, oh yeah, I don't care if it's the Galleria. Like if I got a gun on me, I'm gonna shoot you.
Man, you see these boxers, man. You see the Mayweathers, the Javante Davises, you know, Errol Spence. You see these boxers are registered fighters. If they punch you hard enough, you can die off their fist.
Yeah.
You can die from a punch. So do you think as a man, you're gonna let somebody kill you with a punch? No. So we're not even gonna take that chance. If I see you want to fight, I'm gonna kill you.
Man, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy, man.
It's not a good mindset to have, you know.
I think it's good. I mean, it just depends on the area too. Like I said, like you if you grew up in a certain area, like you're gonna eventually you're gonna, you know what I mean. You're gonna find a way to survive. Pretty much.
Right. It's always about how you grew up, how you was raised, what morals do you have, what principles do you carry. You know, it's about that. A lot of times it's about the principles you carry.
But how do we move from that? Like, how do we stop that? Like, because, because look at it. We always talk about how black people are like a target, right? Like they always, you know, like they look at you different when you're black. Certain area you go, you already know those people are looking at me like this because they know I'm black. Or they think like I'm about to steal, or you look at something, you know, having tattoos and things like that. But when they start doing those stuff in the Galleria area, for example, right? Don't you think that we're gonna get to the point where it's like they're making it hard on all of us? Now it's like they gotta check your pocket and check your bags and check your this and kind of, you know. Don't you think that we're gonna get to that point in like especially in those areas?
Not really, because just how you have a certain amount of those black people that's missing up, you have black people that's in power also. You have a couple black people that's in money. So it takes the black people that's in money to say something. And you know, those who have that power, they're not gonna want anything happening to them or their family. So they're gonna end up saying something which will stop. But our own Houston police chief is a black person.
Yeah, I think I've seen him once.
What is he doing right now for the community?
I think I've seen him once. Do you feel like they have a responsibilities to kind of like, I don't know if you kind of call it like educate the community or like kind of just like protect the community in that sense? Because do you feel like there is not enough protection?
No, of course not. It'll never be enough protection. Just in one apartment building, there's probably 1,000 units. How many police are per shift? There's probably 20 police, 20, 30 policemen per shift.
Yeah.
That's patrolling a whole area. 1,000 people in one apartment unit. Now just times that by 10.
That's crazy. That is crazy. And then there is things going on all the time.
So you have this person fighting with his girlfriend, they call the police.
Yeah.
You have this old lady stealing out of Walmart, they call the police.
Yeah.
You have this kid trying to rob the store, they call the police. You have other moms going to, something happened with their children. He fall off a tree, he broke his leg, she has to call the police and the ambulance. Then you have the worst of the worst, you have a shooting, they call the police. Yeah. You have a druggie somewhere high in the middle of the street, they call the police. So just look at all those examples and just look how many police officers.
So you feel like we will never have enough protection?
No, like it goes back to yourself, protecting yourself. Like I said.
So pretty much that's the best thing to do. Like that's the best advice. Like just
to protect yourself. Learn how to shoot a gun. Protect yourself. That's how that's my opinion.
It's wild, bro. Like, could you imagine you telling someone like you, especially someone like me? That's not just me. I'm gonna talk about all the Africans, especially just because we're Congolese. Like all people that's not from here. You know what I mean? Like coming and then hearing someone telling me something like, don't you think like it's like, especially for now? I mean, it's just because I've been here for a long time too. And then someone like me, I think I can relate to a lot of this stuff just because I was already part of the culture, as I can say. Like, right. I already knew about the U.S. before I even moved to the U.S. Right. Because you always knew about that. And then I'm not going to say like I grew up in a nice neighborhood too. Like I grew up in a neighborhood where you see things like that going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not going to be shocking to me. I think the only difference between what I'm seeing here and what I used to see back home, it's just there is more violence here with guns. We don't have guns like that.
Oh yeah,
people use different things there. You know what I mean? Even in the UK, sure. Like when in Europe, you know what I mean?
That's for sure. When I went to Belgium and I went to Paris, it was a shocker for me because just like here we have police with guns, over there the police have batons.
Yeah.
But then they have the military stationed everywhere outside. So you seeing military people walking around with M16s. Hey, you going inside the mall?
That's different.
The military's walking around with an AR.
That's different.
You looking like, hold on, there's a terrorist attack about to happen.
I know, right? Like I seen that shit in Belgium too. I'm not gonna lie. I seen that
like,
shit in Belgium.
That even shocked me as an American, but I see people walking around with guns every day.
Yeah.
You know, it shocked me too. I just think everybody's gonna have a culture shock no matter where they go. You can go from Africa to America, you're going to have a culture shock. I go from America to Africa and I'm seeing militia in the street coming, barricade.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm seeing, that's going to be culture shocking to me, but that's just the reality of over there. I think everybody is just have to adapt to the reality of where you are. You know, it's just different. But America, we carry ourselves different. Thank God for the Second Amendment. We have the right to bear arms. Mm-hmm. I still keep repeating, everybody have to learn how to protect themselves. You have to learn how to protect yourself.
It's gonna take a minute for me to process that. You know, I mean, it's true though. Like that's real shit. You know what I mean? You ready to tell someone that, but be surprised about, oh yeah, like that cut. You know, like it's like a surprise to you know what I mean? Because some of us, I mean, you know, like it's a lot of people. Like I say, like how could you even know how to operate, like you know, or even how to shut a gun when you come from where you didn't need it? It's like driving.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of us. You went to Europe. You see how many people just like walk in the street.
Right.
Those people doesn't really know. It's like I feel like it's still kind of like a lot and hard to adjust when you come to the U.S. because there was just a lot of stuff going on.
It took a lot, even for my mom. It took a lot for her to understand, like, oh, her son has a gun. It was kind of like a culture shock. But
I know that.
I had to keep reiterating to this is the way of our land. And if I'm living by the way of my land, I have to abide by the land. You know, in the Bible it says, you know, you have to abide by the law of the land. This is my land as of right now, so I have to abide by what is our Constitution. In Texas, we have open carry.
Even now, that shit is still crazy to me.
We have open carry. We have concealed carry. Sometimes I go in a restaurant, somebody sit next to me with a gun on the table. You know, it's as long as they can bring it in there, they you know. So I just think it's just a culture. It's just wherever you are, you have to adapt to that society's culture.
Bro, the shocking things about it, it's just like you see some dumb shit though. Like, people get killed for stupid things. Like, I'm talking about, like, you have a little argument on the road, right?
Right.
People get killed over that. People get killed over parking spot. People get killed over stupid shit.
But nobody says nothing when you look at Mexico and people are getting killed by the cartel.
Oh, yeah, that's...
You look, like, right now with the war going on, they're trying to tell Putin that he's doing war crimes because he's killing civilians. Yeah. He's blowing up regular churches. He's blowing up regular mosques over there. They're trying to say he's becoming a war. He's doing war crimes. So you know they need to go ahead and punish him. When you look at stuff like that, it's like, what's going on? Us as Americans, we're looking like, what's going on there?
It's like it's ghetto everywhere.
Exactly. Now you look at
it's just like the U.S. It's like everywhere is just going bad.
But then when you think of a place like Congo, soon as I tell somebody, my blood is from Congo, they look at me and say, oh, Hotel Rwanda, Blood Diamond.
Oh, that's bullshit.
So that brings nothing but war memories to them.
That's bullshit.
So all the vision they have is, oh, you guys over there cut people with machetes, or they shoot people in the middle of the street. So
I feel like that's the media. You look at it based on what you've seen from there. It's like Nigeria, you know, like. Because we knew Nigeria because of the movies.
Right.
That's how Nigeria was introduced to us. I'm not going to say just all of us because we knew Nigeria for soccer too.
Right.
You know, because pretty much all those countries, I knew it because of soccer. Not just school, but most of the stuff like we studied in school. Like we studied some bullshit in school in Congo anyway.
Right.
We study about things that we don't need, right?
Right.
But you knew it from movies. And whatever you see in the movies is gonna be what you actually think about Nigeria or the country, right? I feel like that's how they look at like some of, you know, especially Congo too. Like I feel like that's how they look at it because to really think about it, like there is not a lot of things that people, because first of all, it's a French, you know, kind of country. Like, you know, I feel like even in the US, it's gonna be hard for people to actually like notice or like acknowledge things from there,
right? Unless
you talk about it. But it's easier for Nigerians just because of I feel like the U.S. is becoming a little Nigerian in that point. Man. Because it's like they everywhere, bro.
Yeah, but I feel the same way when I went to Paris and Belgium.
You look at Congolese there.
I look at Congolese like
it's the same thing.
They're everywhere. Like,
it's Congo there.
You know, when I went there,
Congo,
it's like it's different. Growing up in America, I'm seeing Nigerians, I'm seeing Igbo, Yoruba.
Yeah,
I'm used to it. But then when I went to Paris and then I went to Belgium and London, I'm walking by somebody that's speaking Lingala. I'm looking like So,
it's in the street, like it's
everywhere. It's everywhere there. So
it's really everywhere.
They might look at it the same way we looking at Nigerians here.
Do you see yourself living in Europe?
No.
Why not?
They walk too much for me.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
You say you can adjust, right? Like you don't feel like you're not gonna adjust now.
I can't have a gun. They walk too much for me. Everything is stick shift.
Bro, but you don't, bro. Nobody's gonna kill you though. Like you gotta adjust it now. Like when you say like, "Oh, I'm in Texas, I feel like I gotta have it."
I'm traumatized, man. This that house was built off of war, man. I'm traumatized by Texas, man. I don't feel like I could live in Belgium. I don't feel like I could live in Europe.
But did you like it? Like, what did you like in Europe? What are the
did-
things that you liked in Europe?
It felt peaceful. Like you said, it felt peaceful knowing that everybody was just as equal.
Yeah.
Everybody was just as equal. It felt peaceful. Sure, you have your expensive parts and things like that, but you can walk on the street and see everybody eating.
But don't get me wrong too though. Like you fuck with the wrong people in Europe, you getting smoked too.
Right.
They got niggas that got guns there too.
Right. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. They believe in carrying knives. I don't.
Oh yeah, that shit is crazy. We actually lost a big cousin in Belgium because with the knife.
Yeah.
Like you got stabbed, and you know, it's crazy. I mean, it's a different reality everywhere you go.
Right.
It's just different.
You just have to adjust to it, but I don't think I can adjust to no European lifestyle.
You're definitely not gonna adjust in Congo. I tell you that right now.
Oh nah.
You're definitely
not at all.
Bro, it's different. You see, like I tell people all the time, like you see how people say, "Oh yeah, I come from the bottom," or like if you can make it from here, if I can make it here, I can make it everywhere. You see how people always say that, or like I come from nothing and things like that. I don't blame those people because I cannot compare you not having anything here to me not having anything in Congo.
Right.
It's two different things. You know what I mean?
I mean, a lot of times nothing is nothing.
Yeah.
People get it confused. You know, my mom told me that one time. She was just like, "Oh, you kids here are funny. Y'all say y'all don't have nothing, but y'all have food stamps. Y'all have Medicaid. Y'all have health care right there when you need it. Police to come and break up stuff." I say, okay, you have a point there. But then again, one of my best friends, his mom was a drug addict. I had to deal going over a best friend's house, and their mom sold everything they had in their house because she was addicted to smoking crack. You know, I had a close friend whose mom was an alcoholic. So every day we went to her house, she was drunk, throwing up, passing out on the floor. You know, these are things that no matter where part of the world you're from, those are issues. Yeah. Those are issues that you can never get over. Whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you have nothing.
But I even feel like it's just like you look at it here, because having food stamps here, it's like you're struggling.
Yeah.
You don't have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you on the bottom.
You on the bottom.
So I cannot say that because you have it here, that means like, because bro, like we cannot compare struggles. The struggle is a struggle.
You know, but I told her like I had to tell my mom like the struggles is really different because I can count how many kids I went to school with right now that are dead. Like this is a true story. I have elementary pictures where I look at elementary pictures. I can say this one got killed, this one got shot, this one died in a car accident, this one this. Like I listen to my mom, I listen to my dad. They still tell me stories about kids they went to elementary with, middle school. I'm like, half of my elementary class is dead.
Are you gonna remember like how many close? I mean, I'm pretty sure you know, but how many close friends do you lose? That
I lost close friends. I could say about, as far as close, like everyday conversation with, until their demise, I could say about 6 or 7.
10 years ago when I moved here, you lost one of your best friends.
I lost one. I lost at the time.
That was the same year when I got here.
My closest friend at the time.
Yeah.
We did everything together. We got in trouble together. We talked to the same girls together.
How hard was it for you? I'm gonna take it back. I know how hard it was for you. I see you going through that. You know what I mean? It was literally at the same, because at the same time I'm trying to manage, put everything together, because I couldn't understand it at the time.
I didn't understand.
I never lost a friend.
I didn't understand death at the time. So, my mom would tell me, "Oh, I've lost this cousin, or I've lost this aunt, or something like that." But these were people that was long distance. They were Africa.
It didn't really affect you. Yeah.
This was somebody I talked to every day. Like, to this day, I still remember his house phone number is like 713-484-0595. I know that's his room number. Like, this was a person I talked to every single day since I was 9, 10 years old. So he died at 17. So once he died, it was like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
It was like, what happened? He died. It was like, he died. He got killed. You know, I was home. I was asleep. I never forget when I got the phone call. I was home. I was asleep. My mom knocked on my door at like.
What time of the day was it?
My mom knocked on my door at like 5 in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning. She knocked on the door. I looked. I was like, "What time is it?" She was like, "It's early." I was like, "What happened?" She was like, "Your brother has to talk to you." So I'm like, "Okay." So I get the phone. "What's up?" He's like, "Man, they saying your best friend got shot." I was like, "Nobody called me." So when I lifted my phone, it was dead. So I forgot to put my phone on the charger the night before, so it was dead. So I was like, "Where did you see this? Who did you hear this from?" He said, at this time my brother was living in Lancaster. My brother did. He was living in Lancaster. So he was like, "Man, it's on Facebook. Everybody from Facebook is saying R.I.P." I'm like, "Man, they can't say R.I.P. if he's not dead. You know, I don't think he's dead. I think they got the wrong person." That's what I told him on the phone. I said, "I think they have the wrong person." The same time I'm talking to him on my mom's phone, she's standing in front of me, and I'm plugging my phone in the charger. At this time, I had a flip phone, Verizon flip phone.
Yeah.
And literally, soon as my phone cut on, the notifications start coming in. Pick up the phone. Pick up right now. Call ASAP. Greg got shot. Come to the hospital. Oh my God, this happened. Where you at? I had over like 30 missed calls.
Dang.
From 1 o'clock in the morning all the way to 6:30 when I woke up. I had over 30 missed calls at that time, and I just broke down crying. I just broke down. I didn't know what to do. You know, being African, a lot of things that we don't want to admit. Our parents shelter us, so when they shelter us from reality. So when you do something wrong or when something happens, they try to tell you like, "Oh no. This is not how stuff really happens," but people really get killed. People really die from.
That's a reality, pretty much.
It's a reality, but a lot of African parents try to do the blind eye.
But they don't show you how to deal with it.
Yeah, they don't show you how to deal with it. They don't try to let you know. What's going. They don't even try to let you know what's going on. So at that time, you know, I was in trouble already. I was in trouble with the police. I've been in trouble before, so. My mom kind of looked at me. She looked at her head. She was like, "Oh my God, not this again!" Like she was like, "Oh, we're gonna get
because she doesn't." But don't you feel like at the same time it's like your family doesn't want to like see you end up the same way?
Oh yeah, of course,
because
of course. Like but when you're in the moment, you don't think about that. When you're in the moment,
you don't think about the people that care about you.
Yeah, you don't think about nobody else. When you're in that moment, that's why I said it goes back to your own morale, your own how you move. When you're in that moment, all you think about what is you gonna do next. What are you gonna do next? You know, who did it? What happened? Why it happened? That's all you think about is who did it, what, and why. So that's all you think about. So soon as my phone turned on, somebody else was calling at the same time. I got back up. When I stood up, somebody called, answered, and said, "What's up?" They say, "I'm at the hospital." I said, "Come get me." They said, "Okay." Everybody knew who I was, and they came, got me, because at the time I was 17, I didn't have no car, and they came, got me. I went to the hospital. I stayed there from 7 in the morning.
So he didn't die right away?
He didn't die. Well, now that I'm older, I understand he was already dead. He was brain dead. Okay. So once your brain doesn't have activity no more,
they're pretty much just keeping you alive because
they're keeping you alive just so people can see you. But
you got shot in the head.
He got shot in the head. The car got hit over 15 times. He got one bullet to the head. He got one bullet to the head because he couldn't come out of his seatbelt. So everybody else who had no seatbelt on, they ducked. But he had a seatbelt on, so when he tried to duck, his seatbelt got stuck and he couldn't duck. So everybody said he got shot like this and a bullet went straight to his head. You know, to this day, like, that's the thing I said even about the kids that I deal with. They don't know how to deal with trauma. I still don't know how to deal with trauma because to this day, I've been in a car wreck. I hit my whole head on the windshield, but I still don't wear a seatbelt because I fear the day something happens to me, whether a road
you want to be ready.
I can't get out the car. That's something that still carries me to this day. I have to get out the car because I don't ever want to be stuck in a car like my best friend was.
Damn, that's messed up. I mean, I'm really sorry to, to hear that. Like I said, like that happened when I actually, I think it was my first year here too. I think my first or second year. I don't remember. It was 2012? 2013, my second year. It was my second year.
It just made 9 years.
It was my second year here, and then like that's one thing I'm gonna say about you, man. That's one of the reasons I wanted to I wanted you to come over and so we can just have a talk like this, because I wanted to let you know too, just in front of I'm gonna take advantage of my podcast, my platform. It's a real thing. We talk about real thing, real issue, and then I wanted you to be comfortable. I just want you to know how much proud I am. I am for you. I'm really proud of you.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man.
To see your growth, because I seen it all. Like it's actually funny to me now. I talk about it as a funny story, but it was me and my big brother. One of my big cousin. I mean, I remember that. I don't even know who got shot that day. Like, you never told me.
This was another one of my close. Right after my best friend got killed, another close friend got killed.
Because that one, I think, that one was crazy, because I remember I didn't see you at home that day. Like, I think I got up, and I think it was during the day, too. What am I talking about? I think it was in the afternoon or whatever. So you came and picked me up. I didn't have no car at the time. So you came and picked me up. It was like, hey, like, like we ordered a pizza. So we wanted to, I don't know why we didn't have it delivered anyway. So we had to go pick it up. So I remember getting in the car. We was talking, we chopped it up and everything. I think he told me already that something happened, but I didn't know you was going to be there. I have no idea. I'm talking about, that was the first time for me to see something like that live in front of my eyes. Because you always see it on TV, most of the time it was music videos and you hear about it, right? Like, that was the first time for me to see. I was in the scene, pretty much. It was right there in front of that. It was a Domino's thing?
It was Domino's on South Gessner. One of my close friends, he got killed 2.5 weeks later after my best friend. He got killed. But see, this friend I had, he was a jacker. And from Houston, we called Jack. He was a thief. Okay. He was a robber.
So that's what he was trying to do? I think it was something like, I heard he was trying to like sell dope, or like he got caught.
He got caught up trying to rob somebody, and somebody who was in the other car, they exchanged gunfire. The people he was with left him. Like I said earlier, people who you think are down for you, they're really not. The people he was with left him, so they let the person kill him, and the person waited till the police came. And that's what they beat the case by self-defense.
Damn, that's crazy. I mean, I'm talking about, that was my first time to see niggas with mad dreads in it. I'm talking about like the scary nigga. This is like the first time to see that many scary dudes at once. You know what I mean?
That's our neighborhood. Especially at that time, my whole neighborhood was together. So at that time, we was at least... I couldn't go in the store without knowing somebody there. At that time, I was amongst one of the most praised people in the neighborhood. So I couldn't go nowhere without knowing somebody. My older brother asked Danny. He went to Wingstop one day in our neighborhood. He went to go get some food, and somebody stopped him, and he was like, "What?" They was like, "Oh, you been older brother." He's like, "Y'all look just alike." And he kind of got scared because he knew I was in a bunch of stuff at the time. But
like, I'm talking about, like, he told me, it was like, let's get out the car, let's pick up the... I was like, who's getting out the car? Hell no. I'm gonna... You don't see it? Was like, bro, get out the car, let's go get the pizza. I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna get out of here. You go pick it up. You go get it. I'm gonna wait for you here. Bro, I'm talking about, like, I was sitting right there, just focused. I don't even want to look at them because I don't want them to get confused. Because that's my fear. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I look at it like, what if they think I'm someone that they're looking for? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yo, I don't even want to look at those dudes. Especially if shit like that happen.
That's happened to Jed. That happened to my older brother. He got jumped when he was at a school because they confused him with somebody else.
Oh, for real?
He got jumped. And that's a part of the thing that just fueled it for me. That from there I took the aggression on, and I took everything on my back. Like,
Nothing's gonna happen to me or him.
Nothing's gonna happen to me no more. Nothing's gonna happen to my family. Anybody I'm with, nothing's gonna ever. So I took that and I ran with who I was with, the friends I had, the clique that I was a part of, and we took that and we made sure we demolished anybody else that was gonna try to run or try to do something to any. So when it came from my older brothers, and then it was like from them being mistaken and being jumped, then it came to me. It was like, yeah, y'all not touching no more.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Man, that shit, that's my fear. I mean, I'm talking about like that shit was crazy. And then I remember me getting out the car because I saw you. Like I remember seeing you, and I was like, oh yeah,
I remember that day, man. I saw y'all too, man. I remember that day. It was crazy, man.
Bro, you know what? You know what? Like to this day, I don't know, but I kind of know it. Just like I said, most of the things that I see here is the things that I used to see back home. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I already seen those stuff, but in a different form.
Right.
Right? Like I remember looking at you in the I was like, Dad, let this nigga see me. But you actually saw me, but you telling me that now. You know what I mean? At that time, I was like, nah, that nigga not seeing me.
You know, one thing about being outside, one thing about especially being in the streets, you have to really be aware of your surroundings. So at that time, we really saw.
You gotta pay attention. Yeah. You know.
So once we seen one car pull up, everybody's looking like, who is that? And I'm looking in my head, I'm like, man, my brother and my cousin, man. You know,
bro.
They, you know, even us growing up, they used to pick on the Africans.
For real?
They used to pick, people call Africans booty scratcher.
I heard that. I'm glad that came right way after that.
They used to pick on the Africans. I pride myself as being part of the generation that broke that.
Oh, for real?
We broke that cycle. Like, you know, a lot of the people I grew up with or grew up under was African, and they were hard. So by being hard, they're feared. A lot of people respected them, and some people feared them. A lot of people I grew up under was top people, and they were African. You know, they was Nigerian. You had some Nigerian. You had some from Senegal. You had some Congolese. Like, they were feared. They were feared. You know, I had a lot of Congolese that came to America. Well, came to Houston. They stayed in another neighborhood. Is whether they went on Braeswood, which is here this part of Southwest, or they went to a Hispanic part of Southwest, which is called Rampart and Gulfton. So a lot of Congolese stayed over there also. So some went over there and they got involved in street stuff over there and being outside. So when we link, we'll know each other friends, and we'll know. So a lot of us became more.
You're kind of like half a little.
We came more in numbers, and we came more in power. So we grew up basically, you know, part of the generation that broke all that.
That's dope.
Yeah, man.
That's actually dope too. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's dope because to be able to do that, that's why people like us didn't experience that.
Yeah.
Then we're not gonna know that. Like a lot of people doesn't really know things like that was happening. I mean, like I said, like I just be finding myself knowing a bunch of shit.
We was going to school being laughed at, man. We was going to school, people was laughing. Africans are musty. Oh, Africans are fresh off the boat. Africans is this, ashy. The girls stink. You smell like fish.
That's messed up.
You know, these was stuff that was getting told to us as kids, man. So eventually, like, it only take one or two people to join or to combine and stop that cycle. And thankfully, I had a best friend who was Jamaican. So my best friend that got killed, he was mixed. Okay. So he looked Jamaican. He looked a certain way. He was dark. He was real dark.
Yeah.
And I was African, so they used to make fun of us together. But once they make fun of one, you make fun of the other. So we always stick together. So once somebody says something to one person, you know the other person is right there. And we just took it from there, man, and just ran with it. So we got older, and shoot, once we got older, a lot of people respect. We was the youngest out of all my group of friends. We were the youngest, and eventually everything changed. Now people can't they can't say nothing. They're tried, but they can't say nothing.
Nah, I think it's not gonna happen again. I mean, like I said, like those are the stuff that I didn't experience that. And there's a lot of stuff that I didn't experience in the US, to be honest with you. Like there's a lot of things that I didn't experience just because of, you know, some of the things that's been going on a long time ago. But I'm glad I didn't experience it. You know what I mean? Because it's messed up. But Man, that's good to know though. Like that's good to know. I mean, some of the stories that I really wanted to put out there, like it's especially that story. And then, like I said, I'm really proud of you. Like the people that know you can see the growth, can see who you are now. I'm really proud of the person that you are right now. I'm really proud of everything you have accomplished. You know what I mean? A lot of people from your background, a lot of people from your neighborhood, they a lot of people not even in the same position as you. You know what I mean? Right now,
I still like I still feel like I'm still growing.
Nah,
I'm still growing. Every day is a new day.
Do you feel like it stops, or like you feel you grow until you pretty much you die? Do you reach a level where you feel like, okay, now I'm...
Nah, you grow until you die. You grow until you die. You always unlock something new. It's like you unlock something different. You unlock, whether it be relationship, something new in your relationship, or you unlock something new in even your parenting. I'm growing. I went from having a newborn to a toddler to a preteen now. My daughter is 8 now.
Yeah.
I have a newborn also. She just turned 1. So every time a new year hits, you're reaching a new level, and you're getting closer with your parents. You starting to understand what your big sisters, your big cousins. You're starting to understand what they talked about. You're starting to relate more to certain stuff. You're paying attention to the news because it affects you.
It affects you, yeah.
So every day you still learning. Every day you still learning.
But just real quick, like, do you feel like having girls change you?
Having girls? What do you mean by
having kids? Like having your daughter now. Like, do you feel like it changed? Do you feel like it's just kids, or like there's something about having daughters?
Daughters make you soft.
Okay.
Daughters make you soft. A lot of time when you have a little boy, you want him to be just like you.
Yeah, you want him to be tough. Yeah,
you want him to be tough. You want him to follow what you do.
You don't want him to be a punk. Yeah,
you want him to. Not even sometimes. It don't even have to be always about being hard or not. It just you want him to. I'm gonna show you how I got your mom. I'm gonna show you. You want to teach him. You want to teach having a daughter.
Yeah, put him in the game.
You want having daughters is different. So you have to teach them how to be respectful first. You have to teach them how to respect themselves to where they demand nothing but respect from whoever comes in front of them. You have to show. You have to become a role model. When she looks at you, like sometimes my weight used to fluctuate. I went from being chubby as a kid to being real skinny to gaining weight back. So my clothes was always sagging or falling, and then my daughter used to see it. So you have to wonder, like, hey, she sees dad doing that, so would she like the person that acts like her dad? Because I always open my daughter's door. Before we get in the car, open the door and make sure her seatbelt is buckled. So she's gonna want somebody that's gonna take care of her the same way, but would she want them to look just like her dad? She might get confused. She might. So I have to make sure I'm presentable. I have to make sure I'm clean. My shirt's clean.
So she can see that.
So she can see. Like somebody that carries themselves the same way. So she can see something good in front of her. So I still try. Yeah, having girls it helps you. It helps you carry yourself different. Yeah, that's right.
Man, that's powerful, man. Like for some of us, especially me, like I always wanted a daughter, but I know, sometimes, God is like that. Sometimes you pray for things and you don't really get it.
You don't get them.
It's I don't know all those people that behave. I mean, I don't know. That's why I don't even want to talk about it no more. Just because whatever I'm gonna have, I'm gonna be thankful for it. You know what I mean? But
eventually it becomes like that.
There's just something about them daughters, man. Like especially that's my niece too. So you already know how much love I got for her.
Yeah, and then eventually it becomes like that. Whatever you have, you just thankful for. At first you're like, oh, I want a girl, I want a boy. I wanted a boy, but.
Oh, you wanted a boy first?
I wanted a boy.
Oh man.
But I knew.
Hey, you know what? I want a girl, but I want a boy now.
I knew if I had a boy, I wasn't gonna grow up. God wanted me to grow up, so He gave me a girl first. And even before I had my second daughter, I went through trials and tribulations again. And I know God gave me a daughter, another one again, to keep reminding me, like, hey,
you have a purpose now.
You have a purpose. These girls look up to you. So I always look at it like that. Do I want a boy? At this point, I don't want no more kids. But
man, that's a blessing, man. You gotta have
still
more.
A blessing though.
You gotta have more. But before we even go real quick, because like we've been chopping it up for a minute, and I'm actually glad that thank you again for showing up. But before we actually go, I'm gonna have one more curious question to ask you real quick. Like, do you see yourself being in a relationship with a girl that's not your type?
Being in a relationship with a girl that's not my type, it depends. It honestly depends, because the more older you get, your type changes.
Do you feel like you're gonna have a type, or like you just gonna vibe with whatever?
You vibe.
Okay.
Vibe.
So with age, it's not about. Is it age, maturity? Is it
maturity?
Okay.
Maturity. It's vibes, man. Because your type might have a 0 IQ. She might be stupid.
Yeah.
But this one over here across the room, she's not your type, but you can carry a conversation.
But you don't include those stuff in type. Like, let's say, like you say, my type. Do you feel like we're just talking about physical appearance, or like we talk about everything else too?
I feel like we talk physical first, because what catches your eye?
Yeah.
To even consider you going to talk to them. What is it that's gonna stop you? If you don't know them, if you don't.
But don't you feel like some people, they say, oh, my type is smart girls. Like, oh yeah, I like girls that kind of like.
How would you know they're smart? Because you might walk by a girl, because some people might like Hispanics, blacks, whites. You might say you like smart girl, and that smart girl is white. But if I bring a white girl home to my mom right now, she's gonna look at me crazy. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh man. But I think she's gonna be okay now.
Nah, she's not.
She actually wants you to go back home. Man, that's funny.
She's not gonna be okay with no white girl. Funny. It took her a long time to be okay with just having an American person.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But just to understand, like, when you see somebody, your first thing is gonna be their physical appearance.
The physical appearance, yeah.
So once you reach that physical appearance, that's gonna be the classification of what's your type. Because they caught your eye. Okay, that caught your eye. Okay, now what's gonna get you to stay? When y'all have that conversation and you realize she's smart, boom, then it's like, okay, I like her. But that could be with anybody.
But I feel like it's hard to kind of have the whole thing in a package.
Oh yeah, nobody's 100%.
Especially when it comes to women, like, because some people that really want a woman, like, you're pretty, you know how to cook, you're smart, you have degrees, and I feel, you know what I mean. You go to the gym, you work out, you do things like that, like. I feel like it's hard. That's like finding a perfect.
There's no such thing as a perfect person. Even yourself is not perfect. So it's just being able to take what you can take and what you're willing to deal with, and just keep moving.
What about niggas with money? Don't you feel like money changes everything pretty much?
Money changes everything.
Because I feel like if you have money, then you have the luxury to kind of like, put yourself in a position to get whatever you want.
But that can only go so far. Money can only go so far. Like with money, you can only buy so much, because you could be a complete asshole with money. Yeah. You might not be an asshole to me, but when we go to the restaurant, you look at the waitress like, just because she makes $2 in tips, $2 and some change plus tips, she might be a peasant to you. But somebody like me, I look at them like, this person is taking good care of me. I will respect her just as I respect the next person.
Don't you feel like that's it? Oh yeah, you're right. It's an education thing.
You know,
some people, they just.
So now all of a sudden, but because you have money, that doesn't mean anything. Because the way you carry yourself still doesn't. I still don't like it.
But that's crazy though. Like I feel like having money is not gonna stop you from liking someone that's probably like being a waitress or things like that. You're not just gonna look at at least I'm speaking for myself. Like, if you have money, it's not just gonna make you look for like supermodels or like IG models.
But having money changes the crowd that you're around.
Yeah. But like you said, a good example is like going to a restaurant, for example. You're still gonna see those people around. There is some pretty girl, like pretty.
It's people with money that pass up pretty girls, and they pass up people just because they feel like they're at this level of life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? These people are just still, whether struggling, sometimes having money, you go blindly to reality. You're blind to reality. You know, you forget
But
about.
don't you feel like it's like who you are? That's like if you're not accustomed to treat people right, if you didn't have anything, then when you have money, you're still not gonna do it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely
Because
who you
that's
are.
exactly
Yeah,
that's
who
pretty
you are.
much who you are. But do you see yourself being in a relationship with someone, that's the girl that's not your type, pretty much?
Nah, no, not a relationship. Nah.
Not relationship, no.
Nah.
You gotta like that gotta be your type
A
first.
relationship means we have to be together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, will we have relations, hook up? Oh, probably so. That she's not my type, but yet I'm still hooking up. I probably will.
Yeah.
But as far as relationship and she's not my type,
Long term, yeah.
Nah.
That's
I don't see it.
yeah.
I don't see it.
That's crazy. I mean, we talk about everything, and then just for the people that this is my brother Ben. I mean, born and raised everything in Houston, but he's African, just like me. I'm glad to have this conversation with him, and this is actually my first podcast in English. I always do it in Lingala, and that's the language that we speak in Congo. But this is the first podcast that I did in English, and I'm glad that he was with him. This is not his first time here. If you like what he said and you like everything that because the conversation was kind of personal. Most of the stuff that we talk is some real shit and the things that's going on in our city. And like he's probably gonna come back. This is not his first time. He's gonna come back and fuck with us again. And I'm really, really thankful and happy that you are here today, and we were able to get it done, man, because we were trying to get it done like for a minute. Like this is like the second time.
We was trying to get it done for a minute, schedule.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When I
Busy.
come-
Really a busy man, man. It's really hard to get him too.
Man, I'm not busy, man. I just try to live life, man. I try to live life, make sure I make income.
That's my brother, man. Like
grow.
I'm gonna put his social media things under somewhere right
Follow
there,
me at
and then
Ben
you're
Stacks
gonna
on Instagram, man. Ben Stacks, BENNN 3 N's Stacks at Instagram, man. Ben Stacks on Twitter, BENN Stacks.
fuck with my brother, man. And then I'm gonna have it down here too somewhere, and then people gonna have to look at it, and then show you some love, and y'all fuck with my brother, and then if you like.
Next time we come back, man, I'm bringing guests, man. We're gonna have we're gonna have more people, man.
For sure, bring everybody, man. This is our thing, And then for the people that's watching, make sure you share the link, and if you like it, share the link, and don't just keep it for yourself.
So all my Congolese people, I'm coming, man. July 27th, man.
Yeah,
coming,
for sure.
Man.
Like my guy is. Hey, you can speak Lingala too, though. Like, don't get it twisted.
So I'm gonna surprise them. I'm gonna surprise them right now. So
Hey, don't say nothing about it. Don't say nothing around this nigga in Lingala.
I'm surprise them, man. I'm coming, man.
Don't even say it.
I touch down in Congo, man.
My brother is coming down now, so I can't even say now because my brother isn't, like I can't. That way we're gonna keep it a little private because whatever is gonna happen in Congo is gonna stay in Congo. So my brother is gonna be there, and then thanks for everybody for watching, and then like I said, the next time we're gonna fuck with you again. All right, thank you so much for watching.